Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Hey! Ain't no sense in going to the music since our lovely selves are here. Right. Today, you already know, today's show, we trying to get things moved away from what we're actually dealing with. Okay? Welcome to Shop Talk. Good morning. We got Roogle, our regular co-host. Look at him. He waving, y'all, like ain't nobody listening no more. Look, since we doing the whole Virgil thing, he waving. Y'all can't see him. He was waving. So he says hello. Then we also have Nick, the voice of the community.
Hey.
Okay. We are doing it. Listen, we already know what's going on. We just going to deal with the hot topics today and I commend the other people. I don't want to start with them because I know we'll be on there for a long time, but I don't plan on being on it. We got a schedule that we must follow. Okay. So we are going to follow this schedule. I welcome you to Shop Talk with Mel, and let's get started. All right, Nick. What's going on? Nick, the voice of the community. What you got? What you got for the hot topics?
Except for the hot talk. Okay, we'll say the hot talk. Listen.
Before we get on that, go ahead.
There's really nothing much going on besides the usual. We still have police brutality in certain places. COVID still running rampant, even more, and this isn't even the second wave yet. So I'm just waiting on them hot topics. So
you just waiting on them hot topics.
Right
now. The hot topics. Right, what you got going on, Roogle?
Hold on. You know what's crazy? I went to go look up something, and I was looking up something.
And the hot topics popped up?
No. When I looked it up, the whole screen went away.
Oh, well, we don't want that to happen. Well, let's focus on the listening audience. What we were grounded with, the listening audience. Forget the Virgil, the looking, the seeing. The listening audience, so the people can hear us. Chat.
On this rainy day, just trying to figure out what I'm going to do because I can't do what I wanted to do.
What did you plan on doing?
I planned on fixing the part of my house, which I can't really do because it's raining. I wanted the barbecue, which I can do, but I don't know if I want to be out there trying to do.
You ain't wanting to barbecue on the porch, right?
The way this setup is over here where I'm at, I don't have a porch like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's cool. I've done it before.
You barbecued in the rain. You got a lid on your grill.
Yeah, I got a lid on the grill.
Oh, okay. You ain't got that. What is it? That $9.99 grill?
This open face the kind you buy when you go to the beach.
When you go to the beach, and you just toss that bug after.
Cook anything, hot dogs and hamburgers, but if you try to do a chicken with a bone in there, you done. You can't do it.
I saw some people improvising. They had that. It was like an open pit, type of thing. Not the barbecue sauce, but it was like an open pit, and they took a buggy and turned it on the side.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Now, what is the buggy? What is the buggy for? The lines? The lines in the meat to act like it was really grilled? That's
they use it as a grate to keep it above the heat. But
that's right. Look, because it would go right in. Right in the fire. That's crazy.
Man.
The grill master. All right, so let's start with the first hot topics. The first one we want to address, they're opening up the schools. How do you feel about opening up school? Let's start there. Go ahead, Nick. How do you feel about them opening up the schools fall, September?
It's going to be hard because we're still going through all of this mess. But if they're going to try, how are they going to safeguard the kids? I mean, what you going to do, put plastic? If they put plastic all around it like you see all these stores and restaurants. I went in a pizza joint yesterday, and in between each table, they had like a shower curtain, the plastic shower curtains up with the little rods and everything. To me, that's not doing much, but I mean, it's kind of hard because some of the parents are not sticking to this virtual learning thing like they were supposed to do at first. So the kids are basically not turning in their work. So a lot of teachers have problems with that. So
it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's kind of like a double-edged sword then.
Yeah, it is, because these kids need to be learning. We can't let them continuously fall behind. That's not good because of what's going on. But then how do you safeguard these babies? Because they're not going to sit there all day with no mask on their face. Because an adult's not going to do it.
Listen, they probably will, but they probably be like, let me see your mask. Let me see. And,
You're right.
And passing it because that's what they do. Go ahead, Roogle. Weigh in on this one.
This is such a loaded question.
I know. I love the loaded ones.
I could spend the whole episode of Shop Talk with Mel just talking about it. But one thing I think I will say is that this is the point where we need to make a paradigm shift in how we educate students. And we've done so far in colleges before this even happened. I remember taking classes and they would be telecommunicated to other communities, right? So I think what's going on now is that, let's talk about in America. Go ahead. Okay, now I'm down the middle of the screen in America. So part of it is in America. You got the president saying, hey, you got to open up those school buildings because we got to have people in school. And you got local people like, hey, yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, if we're talking about educating people, how do we educate people and have them be safe? And now you have that big split there because part of it is do you need an actual brick and mortar institution to be able to educate somebody? Well, the University of Phoenix would say, hell no.
Right. Right.
They've been doing it for years without it. The thing is how do we prepare our families in order to be able to do that when it was something that was not necessarily a piece of buy-in from the beginning of what the education would be? Like the University of Phoenix, okay, it's online. I have to have connection. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking at how do we connect our communities? And if our communities are not connected, then how do we connect our communities in a way not only just to survive academically in a pandemic, but just this generally? How many benefits will come from our communities being connected in a way where there's seamless communication, not only with the healthcare, let's put in there healthcare, education, the libraries for another. Man, my hands look really big. I'm gonna put that hand down.
Yes, go ahead. They look swollen. You retaining fluid. Go ahead.
I will slap gorilla slap somebody up in here big old hands.
Listen, when you said healthcare, I looked and then you had your hands. I was like, ooh, he retaining a lot of fluid. But go ahead, carry on with your thought.
But the point is that we're moving towards a piece in American history. But let's put it like this. We lead the way globally. But if we're doing these things, we have to make sure we do them right. So how do we educate students during this time? If it is remote education, are we ensuring that they have all the materials that they need to support that education? Are we ensuring that when you have students who have difficulties, how are we engaging them to keep them on level? And that's the question.
Because what about the babies that learn different from everybody else?
Now here,
that's what I was talking about on level.
Yeah,
when we talk about a mainstream education, there are caveats where we remove children from that learning environment to be able to educate, to be able to remediate them. but there's also the cases of like students who have certain issues with, attention deficit disorder and things like that.
So that means that somebody has to actually come in and at their home. Listen, when you have attention, that I am a parent of ADDH, attention deficit hyperactivity individual, and even though when he had the work, I already know when he had the work. I just put him out there. When he had his schoolwork, they did it there, and then I also did it at home. You know what I mean? So I had to do something too, which I hope most parents do. It's like, okay, let me see. Now I will tell you, they got some new type of learning out here that is really different, like that math. I couldn't even help with the math. And I'm going to tell you another thing. These young people just watching and, just taking tests. I don't know if they have a new type of reading or something, but I need to get on that because I don't know how they read so fast. I was sitting there, it'll be like a 50 question exam. And as soon as they sit down, they're like done in like 2 minutes. And I'm sitting there like, listen, I go back and read the question again. I done read all the answers. I done went back. I said, wait a minute, I'm the last one. What's going on? I don't know if they have like a new type of way they teaching them how to read. But if they do, I need to go to that to remediate and go to that class or do something like that. Now, I want to ask you this. Do you think, because they have like the politics over the scientists, they're going back and forth with that battle. And with that, do you think that most voting polls, let's be realistic here, most voting polls are in school. Do you think that that's why, wait, am I in the middle? That's why America wants to rush and have them go back to school? Because, most of them, because we usually vote at like the public school, you know what I mean? And then, some move to churches, but
I don't think that really plays a role in it as far as like where you vote or whatever. Because I know they've
but here's why I asked that, because if it's in the school and the schools are closed, then you can't vote right in the schools. That's just my thought. I'm just regular. I'm just a regular people.
Theoretically, but what's been the push is to move like the voting locations out of schools because of like. Like in Ohio, for example, you can be a felon, right? I mean, you still have the right to vote. Or you can be a sex offender and you have the right to vote. But can I vote in a school if I'm a sex offender? Well, pretty much no. So I have to find so the voting location is different, or early voting. The whole thing that's going that I think our push needs to be is that people should not wait until election day to vote. We need to early vote. And when you
I don't trust that early voting, because let me tell you, I be reading, and where they had early voters, people were mailing it in and they were changing their party. A guy was changing their party. So now that's like in litigation.
But that's corruption.
Right. So people don't try. Listen, I am one of the people, I be like this. Don't trust it. I'm going. But I like the party though. Anybody know I like the party. I like the people. Where we going?
Like the party.
I like the party.
The election day.
Yeah, election day, the hustle and bustle. I like all of that stuff. I'm feeling it. So that I am that person. I'm the last minute. Christmas Eve, I'm out. I don't even have nothing to do. I just go out and just to be in the middle of the mess. Look, driving folks crazy, I guess.
On Christmas Eve?
And Christmas
That's
Eve.
how I am. I wait till Christmas Eve to do everything.
I'll be done. I just like the energy.
No, I'll be done. I'll be out there shopping.
You're one of those people. Now, now let's consider this before we move on to the next part, as far as like with the schools reopening. Now, you said they have to make sure, Roogle, you were talking about making sure that they have the materials that's needed in order to be educated.
Virtual.
Now,
okay. Virtual or not virtual.
Okay.
The issue is, are they in the students' hands? Because I will speak directly to what's happening in our city, where our CEO and ADC model, they wanted textbooks to be a reference versus like a piece of like what the students would take home with them every day. And so the issue becomes like, well, when you don't have a classroom where you can reference the textbook, You need to. I mean, in any environment, that's a bad.
You use it as a reference. That's the library.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But that's how they wanted to make our learning for our students, was that the only way you got the book was when you was in a class versus being able to read up when you're at home, read ahead, do work ahead, all that other stuff.
That's what they make copy machines for.
Well, it's not about that. I mean, these districts can definitely afford to pay books, buy books for every student. The issue is that they made a design that would corrupt that learning at home.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, the books. You know how I feel about the books. You need to take the books home so that you can actually have time, because you can't get in, a 40-minute class. And it was like 40 minutes, and then you take the first 10 to take attendance. Anyway, what about, now you know that list, because see, I'm a parent. That list that we have to buy, the toilet paper, the hand sanitizer, all that other stuff, because remember the teachers got tired of buying it, but that's what they wanted. I already had an issue with that list, because this is what you want in your classroom. Why do I have to pay for it? That list, roughly, let me see, back then, my daughter graduated, I think, in 16. Okay, so we're talking 4 years now. That list cost me $83, I believe, just for the list of supplies of what they needed. You know, oh, you know what? I adopted a kindergartner maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, it was like $83. That's how it was fresh in my mind. $83 for that list. The hand sanitizer, a whole bunch of tissue, the Kleenex. I feel like if I'm buying this and every student is buying this, I'm just being honest, because that's what I do. Send my stuff home that my child didn't use it. Bring it on back. Come on back. Bring me my Kleenex. Send them boxes back, because I have little beautiful containers to put Kleenex, the beautiful Kleenex boxes, boom. I could put it and I could use it there. Now here's where I'm going. You pin that, because I know you got something to say on that one. Now we're talking. Now we're talking mask, extra mask, because we already know, especially if it's a little kid, they sneeze, that mask is over. Toss it. You're talking more hand sanitizer. You're talking, like, it's more to the list. Then they'll be like, okay, well, we need the shields up. We need to pay for this. It keeps growing and growing and growing. Okay, go ahead, sir, school board member. I know that's where you're going. I know that answer is going to be a school board member answer.
My answer would first be this, is that, first of all, students and teachers should not subsidize the learning process. This is not a restaurant. It's not a restaurant. We shouldn't be in a situation where we rely on teachers to supply things to educate students or to keep them safe. We shouldn't rely on situations where students are at risk because the school district didn't provide what was needed. So when I hear, like, okay, the tissue,
but they're not relying on the teachers; they're relying on the parents.
Well, it's twofold in this situation, because, like, there's things that teachers buy for the classroom, like, as far as if they want to teach on a certain subject, they might need to bring in something. But we're talking about the environment of the classroom.
Okay.
And in order for that environment of the classroom to function, for example, we're not asking them to bring a roll of toilet paper to the school.
But they are, aren't they, Nick?
At what school?
At all of them. Listen, don't let me get you
a roll of toilet paper at a public school.
Kleenex, roll of toilet paper, tomato.
No.
That list be so long, be so much stuff. And then the thing is, it's not for your child. It's
for everybody.
Yeah.
$83.
The point is that we should not be we should not have the learning, the environment subsidized by teachers or parents, because technically we're paying all into that with the taxes. We have to ensure that the tax dollars are used in a way to be able to provide all the needs that we have in our district. And that's the problem when you have, like, state control, because they'll say, hey, let's hire all our friends and pay them exorbitant salaries versus, like, ensuring that students have construction paper. You know what I mean? So
it's funny you should bring that up. As far as, like, hiring all of our friends. Now, I got an honest question. Y'all don't even have to answer it. But this is just an honest question. If you had a company, or not even a company, but you were working somewhere and they were hiring for this position was vacant. And I know both of y'all. And I know your work ethics and you know me. Okay, so y'all kind of know how I operate. And it's a vacant position. And you guys have the credentials. Why wouldn't I hire you? You ain't got to answer. Don't answer. Because we're not going to talk about nepotism. That's what your family.
Well, answer the question.
But,
I mean,
okay, go ahead.
The issue is...
I will hire you.
Should that person not have an opportunity? Of course they should have an opportunity if they're the best person. But sometimes the systems at play are not necessarily hiring the people that are best suited for the job. So
okay, I hear you. I hear you on that. But wait. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you get your point. But I have to say this. If there's something that I want done, let's be real. Now you got to put yourself in other folks' shoes. I do it all the time. If there's something that I want done, and I know you too, and I know that you guys will help me execute this. And you guys know how I operate. And of course, if it's me, it's all for the good. I'm not going to do anything intentionally wrong toward anybody. I'm going to hire the people I know because guess what? I trust you. There's a level of trust. So I'll be like, okay, boom. I know that she'll get this done. Boom. I know that he'll get this done. Boom. And their mindset, we all on the same page. Versus, I don't know these people. I don't know what they are. They're looking at me sideways. They're not accustomed to change because we know we are creatures of habit. That's why the students having an issue with the virtual learning, which is, like you said, like college all the time. You're just introducing college, so to speak, to the younger people earlier. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Roogle, with your points.
Okay, for example, I think there's so much to unpack, right? So I will not be able to speak to every issue. But I will say, when you look at certain situations, let's say the White House, for example, right now.
Okay.
You have where the president has put family members in charge of certain areas, right? And it's like, well, hey, how are they vetted to do those particular jobs? So much to where they're not even vetted to be able to get security access to do those jobs. But
credentials.
But they have them. Yeah, but the thing is, credentials versus access is two different things.
I didn't say access. I said credentials. If they have the credentials, you don't believe that the people had the credentials in the school board. I mean, the CEO, the people that the old one hired, they didn't have the credentials. This is the show where it's okay to be you.
From what I would tell you is like this: there has been quite a many of folks that have been hired. And they have not, they don't have the standard requirements for that job.
Okay.
The caveat in Ohio is, though, in Ohio, maybe in other states too, is that you can hire somebody and that they have the ability to be able to get that credential within a certain time frame.
Okay.
The issue in Youngstown is, why would you hire someone who didn't have it when we're in a crisis situation? If you're in a crisis situation, you don't say, well, give me the fresh student out of, like for example, in the OR, you don't say, oh, okay, well, we're in a crisis situation right here because it's triage. Let's get the person who's never done surgery before to do the surgery, yet they're a doctor, right? So in our situation, we've been put in a situation where there's people that have been hired, but why would you spend the time hiring a person who is not credentialed when you could do the work to hire a credentialed person that you do not know to do the work, but because based off their credentials, they've been accredited to be able to do the work. So in our situation, we see people being hired who do not have the credential to do the work and have not been able to show the capacity to be able to do the work either. So credentialing versus experience, and they have hired people who don't have either.
Okay. Now, I'm going to speak to the OR doctor. You said that never did surgery before. Now, the patient probably don't want that doctor, that surgeon. However, you have to practice. That's why they call it doctors practicing medicine. Doesn't it cover under something? You have to get the experience somewhere. But I understand your point. I just had to speak to that.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you don't practice education, and my thing is like this. It's like, if I'm in a medical situation, I've said it before.
Why you want to talk medicine to me?
Hey, all I'm saying is like this. Why I got to be subject to, if I'm not getting a discount on my bill, why I got to be subject to the person who is in learning, who is not necessarily the person, like they're practicing under somebody else, but you're going to charge me the same price? Come on now.
They do. You got a problem with the residents that come into the room? If you're in the hospital, you don't want a resident in the room?
Damn straight. I don't. They can practice on somebody else, not on me though.
Okay, once they get experience, then come through.
No, don't come to me at all.
You don't even know.
If I say, hey, I'm going to XYZ doctor.
Nick, you next, because I'm asking you next. Go ahead. You said if you go where? XYZ what?
If let's say my doctor is XYZ.
Okay.
Then I expect XYZ to do whatever he needs to do she needs to do on me. But if you're gonna give me ABC, then let me pay ABC prices versus XYZ prices.
Okay, you want the discounted rate.
Yeah, if you practicing, then it should be for free. Shit.
The sample, right? Go ahead. What you got, Nick? What you think, Nick?
You're not getting a discounted price because the practicing doctor is up under the regular attending
XYZ.
Right, you paying XYZ. XYZ is then responsible to pay ABC. Okay. So that's why you're not getting no discounted price. You paying that doctor. He just got people up under him learning, and it's his responsibility to pay them their little pennies because they are in resident.
What I got to do with that? What I got to do with that apprenticeship? I don't got nothing to do with that apprenticeship.
Wait, Nick. Says the guy with the master's degree.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Somebody gave you the opportunity to say, okay, here you go.
The opportunity to what?
The opportunity to educate. Look, time out. Listen, we get ready to go through. We gonna touch bases on that because that's where we are in. What's your thing, America? Where you have people who do have master's degrees that can't get a job because of nepotism or because I know a few. Mm-hmm. And you did. I saw a guy. Let me tell you something. Commend him, and I look at people through my lens, and I was just talking to him, and then he said to me, I was in the line. He's so funny. He said to me, "You know what?" He said, "I've known you a lot of years," and he said, "And he's working at McDonald's." He said, "I know you a lot of years, and you don't talk to me any different." He said, "I see people that he's been friends with, that he sees them, and they just kind of just look at him now because he's at McDonald's. He did not used to be at McDonald's, but I commend him because he's doing what he has to do to handle his business. And this is a guy who has a bachelor's degree, and he can't find work. It's sad out here, but
because all of these jobs."
But he's a provider because he's right there. He's at the McDonald's cleaning and still having a good time. But I thought that was really nice. I was like, what? He was like, you never talk to me different. It's like, boom, we still the same. You know, even when he was in his position to now. I'm like, oh.
And that's what I don't understand because of all of these jobs now. They want you to have the degree, but they also want you to have experience. But if you don't have a degree, they're not going to hire you. So how are you supposed, that's a double-edged sword. How are you supposed to get the experience if you're not going to hire me with just my degree? Or, or you're not going to hire me so that I can get experience to move up the level once I get my degree. So it's like, they want you, even with a degree now, they want you to have some type of experience, but they're not going to hire you without having that degree.
Or having that experience. I'm going to let Roogle speak to that because he just said he don't want no residence experience. He don't want them to get their experience off of him unless he getting their prices.
All I said was like
unless he getting their prices.
What I said was this: if I'm paying for this particular doctor, don't give me a student.
I'm paying for that. That's fair.
Doctor. That person who's practicing is not my physician. The person I hired is my physician. So,
but they're not in there alone practicing on you. They are with the doctor that you're actually paying. The attending physician is there with them. So they're not. But
he don't want them practicing on them. Now I'm gonna tell you this honestly. I will say I'm gonna say this. When I had my first, they had all these people they thought was gonna be in a room. First of all, I'm delivering a baby. All y'all are not going to be in the room. That's not happening. I don't want my mother down there. I don't want nobody down there. Okay. I don't even want the doctor down there, but he has to be because I don't like people seeing, you don't need to see all of that. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to see all of that. Like, get out of here. And my doctor asked me, and I had a midwife, but the midwife was with me the whole time, working with the OB doctor. So that was cool. But Roogle, when all the people came up in that room, I was like, what are they here for? I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And they was like, hey, do you mind? I do mind. Because this is personal. This area is like personal.
Think about it like this. If we only make up 13% of the population, there couldn't have been 13. There couldn't have been like 50% of the people who are having babies of being African American. Why did they choose your room versus someone else's?
Probably because, I don't know, I'm exciting.
Are you excited?
I'm exciting.
Defined.
Right, there you go. It's like, oh, let's go in here. She's cool. Let's go in here. No, everybody can't see this. This is personal. Sorry, and especially, I don't even know you. Like, get out of here. No, listen, I didn't even want to see it. And at that time, see, now they have like videos. They didn't have the videos then, but they had a mirror. There's like, do you want to, I don't want to look at that. Like, get out of here. But I feel you on that part. Certain things, no. Personal things, just the people that got to be there. And I don't even want you there. I like dreaded that part, okay? They're like undressed from the waist down. I dreaded that part. I was like, it's personal for me. But you already know, Roogle, swimsuits. I wear cover-ups. You call them nightgowns. Remember, Roogle? You're like, y'all, you can't learn how to swim with that nightgown on. I don't like people looking at me like that. So,
see, when my mom had her open heart surgery, she had the first one done in Erie, at Hammond Medical Center.
She had students?
The second one she had done in Cleveland University.
That's a teaching hospital.
Yes. Whenever they would come in, the doctor would ask if it was okay if he brought his students in. And my mother, being a nurse, did not mind because she knew they had to start somewhere.
Now,
now
let's go with Ruggles, Nick. Let's go with Ruggles. So your mother would have been okay with them performing her open heart surgery?
I mean, because she knew the procedure. She knew the doctor was going to be there.
Okay, to oversee.
She was fine.
Because she was a nurse. So
they always asked permission.
I just kind of feel like the issue for me is like, why is it when I'm in a hospital, you got to be practicing on me? That's all I'm saying. And the other issue is like, have you ever had the opportunity to teach somebody a new skill and watch them not do everything correctly?
Yes.
So sometimes, let's say, like, for example, I'm in surgery and somebody happens to cut an artery, a vein that they shouldn't. Am I at a certain level of risk because they made a mistake, even though the person was overseeing what they were doing? It just seems to me that given a situation where we're talking to 3 black people, random experiences, random situations, Why is it that we all had an experience where somebody's practicing instead of having like the person who is the go-to person?
I feel you on that, which moves us right on to our next topic. They're saying that the COVID vaccine, they can't do the COVID vaccine without Black people being in the experiment.
Why gotta be just the Black people?
Why? Because
Why?
You got white folks with it, Chinese folks with it, Africans with it, hell, aliens with it.
Because it all goes back to James Marion Sims, who was the person who is founded as being the creator of gynecology. And what did he do? Practice on Black people. Practice on Black.
gynecology with the COVID-19 test?
I'm just giving an example of how in America we've been subject to whatever they think will move the science ahead.
Yeah, like syphilis. What was that? 1932, the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah.
They don't tell you everything.
You ain't about to be experimenting no new drug on me. It's one thing to have an attending physician in there while I'm in a teaching hospital with somebody, but we not doing no vaccine. Nah. And then I end up growing a third eye in the middle of my head.
Third eye.
That third eye. When you sleep, somebody got luck. Like,
what if the third eye is right above like the second eye?
and not centered.
Third eye in my mind. I don't want it on my face.
Like, okay, I heard that. So, well, no vaccine for her. She like, and I'm done. You have to know the pros and the cons of a vaccine before you actually say, hey, this needs to be, you need to have this. In the school system, there are many vaccines that are required in order for your child to come to school. Now, there's one which is really interesting, and I'll share this story. It was one lady who did not vaccinate her children. And she didn't believe in vaccines and, religious purposes. I get it. No problem. But yet her children ended up coming down with something and she sent them to the school. Now, let me say this is not where I work, at the school that I work. I put that out there. But I have seen where she sent them. Now, you send them and then you tell them, keep your, put them on long sleeves. And don't talk to anybody. How is that possible when they're in elementary school? Stay away from other children. Why would you even send them? That was my question to her. I said, why would you send them?
See, that's one thing about my sister-in-law. She don't believe in vaccinations with the kids because she's a pharmacy tech. She mixes her and she,
Okay, because you have some adverse effects on everything.
The vaccines and stuff like that. So she doesn't want her kids. She didn't get them vaccinated or anything like that. But when they are sick, they don't go to school. She's not gonna send them because they're susceptible. She ain't gonna send them to school when they sick.
And you will hope that no other parent will send their child to school because sick. Exactly. But it happens. What's your thought, Roogle? I see the smirk.
We're right now we're facing that. We're facing we get the president saying that schools should open and all that kind of stuff. But there are people who homeschool their children, right? For whatever reason that is. I would say that given the course of things, we just got to make sure that people are safe. I think that's the most part because you can't learn if you're in a hospital bed.
And that is the truth. And to speak to what Nick was saying earlier, when she was saying some people learn different, some people like to be in the front of the classroom. I'm one of those people to be in front of the classroom. And you know why that is? I have to be held accountable. If I'm online, man, let me tell you, I'll be like, okay, when is it due? I'll be like, okay, I got till then. And I procrastinate. I'll put it off until it's time to go ahead and do it.
I did 2 or 3 classes like that.
And if I'm in school in front of someone, I know that this has to be done before I go back to that class because actually I'm held accountable. I need accountability, so I need to be in front. But that's just me. Go ahead, smart guy.
I would say, first of all, the accountability is not to the instructor, but it's to yourself.
It's to myself, but in my mind, I see this instructor. I cannot look this instructor in the face, and I don't like zeros. And I can't say, oops, I didn't have my stuff because this instructor might call on me today. So I need to make sure that I'm prepared. I am that person. Go ahead.
I think the issue is, first of all, in any education circle, whenever we're talking to the student, the accountability of doing the project should be to themselves, not to the person, because we have people who necessarily don't get along with people, right? You have sometimes
tell that to the drug addict. Tell that to the alcoholic. They're accountable. Somebody is with them, and they have their pair together, so they can be accountable for somebody.
Cool. I mean, I understand that, but in this model, if we're talking about a K through 12 model, then that accountability should be to the parent, not necessarily to the educator. So my thing is, like, for me, it was like, yeah, I want to hold my son accountable to present the information that he was supposed to make or whatever to the teacher, but I took full responsibility of his education. I let the people, the educational institution, vet his education.
Okay.
Through their system.
Okay, let's talk about the overachiever. Let's talk about the overachiever for a minute. Let's talk about the star student, the person that, anyway, listen. When they go, at home, you said to the parent, at home, we know, we will hope the parent gonna love you anyway, so you don't have a point to prove to the parent. When you go to the school, it's like, oh, good, I knew that. It builds up your self-esteem. Your parents gonna tell you you're beautiful. Unless they me, I'll be like, that's not the move. I'm gonna tell it. I'll be like, that's not a good look. But parents are gonna tell their child or somebody in their family, they're gonna build them up anyway, so they already know that. So guess what? Sorry, not sorry. Yours means something but don't mean anything because they're used to it. When you go to a stranger and a stranger compliments you on something, it's a different feeling. So I have to be in front of the class, not for that validation from the teacher. I just need to be held accountable. And I look at the instructor as, okay, I got to make sure I come here because I don't want to be the only one looking nuts. Have you ever been that student that they call on and they don't know what you're talking about? Now, I talked a lot in class. Everybody know that. Anybody that went to school with me, they know I talked. And they would call on me, but guess who knew the answer? She did. Because I already knew. I already knew that this person, there's a possibility that this person might call on me and I need to be ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Versus at home, that's just me as an adult. But I might have, my child might have got the ADD from me. You know what I mean? Like, you got to sit still. You got to be quiet.
Yeah, I got to be in classroom. I can't do virtual. I tried that twice, and I failed miserably twice.
Self-discipline is with virtual.
Twice.
Would you agree with that, Roogle? You have to have self-discipline?
I would agree to it, but I think the issue is that how people, okay, for example, I had a relative that was going through some virtual learning because of what happened in the fall. I mean, in the spring semester. The issue became there was no seminars given by the professor or instruction or lectures or whatever, right?
Okay.
They just pretty much assigned assignments, and that's how they did it. They graded the person, gave some written comments. That is not what I'm talking about. I think if we have an integrated system where it's like, hey, just like the three of us are having a conversation, you have the teacher leading discussion, have that conversation, assign the homework, be able to meet with that teacher to discuss the work, just like in a college environment. I think now what we're good at is that we're preparing children to go into a post-secondary education experience that does not reflect what's happening in that K through 12 experience. So now with this pandemic, we see an opportunity where we can start to seamlessly educate students in a way that we're preparing them to be able to succeed in that post-secondary educational experience environment. So what I'm saying is that I know it's difficult for us because we haven't had that experience. But when you have children who are being introduced to that new way of learning, it becomes a new way of doing things. Like, for example, for work, I've been working on a smartphone forever, right? And now I got a phone where it's like, I'll show you. I got one of these.
That's
right?
the throwback flip.
Throwback flip T9, and I'm like,
What's
I
a
don't even know how to
T9?
use it anymore. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to use it anymore.
You can't text.
So the thing I'm saying is, like, there are great experiences that for learning that happened in the old school that we definitely need to bring into the new school, and then wrap that around what the current technology is. And we're moving towards a situation where we're forced to adapt the technology at a time where we may have been reluctant because of the status quo, just because of the status quo and what makes us comfortable. But if we're talking about really building a workforce for the next generation, it won't be this as it will be one of these. You know what I mean? So I covered it up so you could, but I'm just saying, like, this is an opportunity I think that we need to grasp, and when we grasp it in the inner cities and be able to have our children adapt, I think it gives them an environment that hopefully is unbiased as the classroom may be.
Okay. I'll ask both of you this question. What advice would you give the instructors, teachers who may be afraid of going back to class or not comfortable? Let me put it that way. Not comfortable with returning to the classroom. What would you say to them if they decide, okay, your school has to go back to school. You have to go back into the classroom? Because let me put this out there. There was an article where there were 3 teachers that were in the same classroom. I don't know. Did you guys see that article? Okay. Well, it's on the Shop Talk with Mel page. I did share it. 3 teachers teaching in the same classroom. They have everything all together. As far as like the social distancing, everything, they made sure they washed their hands. They did everything that they said do. All 3 of them tested positive. They taught in the same, that's the common denominator is that they were in the same exact classroom. Now, one of them did pass away. What would be your advice to a teacher who has concerns about going back into the classroom? Go ahead, Nick. Real quick, wrap that up and then we'll go to the next topic.
I mean, there's really nothing you can say or no advice, because that's their job, but also that's their life. They have a family they have to go home to. Some of them may, some of them may not, but that's your life. So you got to take an account for your life.
Okay, that's great advice. That's great advice. Go ahead, Roogle.
This is why we need to find some intervention that may not necessarily be face-to-face learning as we know it. Part of the concern is that with teachers going back is not necessarily like if they catch it from the students, but if they catch it from peers. We're creating an environment, if we go back to what it was, to put people in a situation where you don't know where it's coming from. And I remember a few shows back when I talked about this, like one of the only times I can remember in American history where we did like a lot of like wide testing was HIV. But you knew with HIV, there were certain behaviors that if you practice safe sex or if you didn't use intravenous needle use,
you had an answer.
You could avoid it. But in this, it's literally like the information on how it's being caught has changed. Like before
daily.
Like social distancing and all that stuff, it may help, but then they're saying like, hey, this stuff we think it may stay in the air as an aerosol for whatever period of time. You know what I mean? So, there was like 200 doctors who signed off on a letter talking about that to the World Health Organization.
That's why they have that evidence-based practice. That's why that's important. Go ahead.
I just kind of feel like we need to find steps to educate people, to have people gainfully employed that may be different than what we thought of before. And to kind of have like this thing where we have to relapse into systems that in some case never worked. You know, I mean, let's think about it. People are like, oh, the education system is broken because they all whatever. Well, now is the opportunity for us to be able to change that system that people think is broken. So if it's a situation where it's like, hey, my class is being disrupted because of these students who want to do this. Well, think about this. The teacher has the ability to be able to mute all the students. So,
so she don't have any distractions. Here's.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. And then
you have a valid point.
Have to be distracted by the other student, right? If that's a root cause.
Okay, so if we go virtual, so now I understand, and you can have as many people as you want. You can have your instructor there, and then all the students there, so you will still be held accountable. Look, me in the classroom, like I have to be here, and boom, you can call on me at any time. Also, with the virtual learning, I want to go back to what Nick said earlier. The back in March, remember all the students, they all passed. So this time around, I'm sure everybody just can't pass if they're deciding to go virtual. There was a teacher out of Detroit. She was sharing with me that what she saw, she said we had to pass everybody. And this is Detroit, Michigan. They had to pass everybody. However, she said that half the students wouldn't even show up virtually. Back to what me and Nick was talking about. You know what I mean? We weren't talking about not showing up, but we were just saying how they're just not involved. You know, they're not enthused. Like, okay, I have to go here. Somebody is making you do something and holding you accountable. You like that, Roogle? See, holding the student accountable to show up and be here. I get what you're saying. I do know that there is one school that is opening up, and on Mondays and Tuesdays, they have a certain, Monday and Tuesdays are a certain group of students, and then on Thursday and Friday is a certain group of students, and then on Wednesday they do virtual, where I'm with you, do virtual all along, and then have them held accountable to look and see. But I think that wouldn't the school have to supply them like laptops or Wi-Fi, and isn't that more money? When the schools are responsible for that, am I correct?
Yeah, but let's think about it like this. Is it money worth spending if we can ensure your safety and be able to give you the connectivity and contact with the classroom?
Yes.
I think it's money. I think it's money worth saving. Yes. The issue that comes into impact is like, how do you have like art classes? How do you have music classes? How do you have choir?
You can have choir. Listen, we be seeing that on the doggone thing. We can have choir. Let's all hit a note. Hey, ooh, woo. So,
but the point is, I'm saying is that
that interaction.
There's some of those things that kind of need a communal environment in order for them to be able to work. Now, you can't have like things. You can't have music classes that do, use those sort of things. But I guess I'm just saying, like, there's some avenues that can't be replaced. There's some things that can't be replaced by just being in person. But
absolutely. And touch is one. We need to boost the immune system. Listen, you need that. I mean, even though we're socializing, and I know you remember this, both of y'all. Remember years ago, they were saying you'll be able to look at who you're talking to on the phone. I didn't believe it. I was like, man, please. Listen, it is here. And it is so, I didn't think it was.
Right now?
Right now, it is here. Right now. I would have never, ever thought about, I couldn't think about it 30 plus years ago when they first said it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it's happening.
I know it seemed like it was so out of touch then, but now it's like the norm.
It's here.
So you don't think about the fact that back when they said it back then, you was like, yeah, right. It's just the norm now.
Now it's the norm. Now I want to give advice and hurry up and move past and wrap this up. The advice I would give to teachers who are afraid of going back in the classroom or giving it to their family, trust and believe the parents of those students are afraid too, because we don't know that you all are safe. Honestly, don't go, because if you are that afraid, you will actually end up contracting something. And that's the truth. And I hate to sound that way, but it's the truth. It's like you're so afraid of, You got to go out, build up your immune system. I remember my grandfather saying, talking about my son, he let him eat some dirt because I would keep wiping him off and keep wiping him off. You know what I mean? Cleaning him up every time he got dirty, any little speck of dirt. Let the boy eat some dirt. You're going to have him sick. And I'm not saying go out and eat dirt. I'm not saying go out and sneeze, let somebody sneeze on you. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is baby steps. But if you are afraid, don't go. Don't go. And find another career. There's nothing that I could say, dude. You know me, I got a whole bunch of different little degrees up on my little wall. You know what I mean? Change career. And you don't know when you'll have to do that. A lot of people change careers because of there's no money in it. I know in accounting, she has a master's in accounting. She was an accountant for 30 years. And she looked in the paper and she saw there was a need for nursing. And she went to nursing school well in her 50s. So she was like 25 years. Well in her 50s, almost 60. She went back to nursing school because she saw this is what's thriving right now. Unfortunately, we didn't cause this. It came upon us and we have to deal with it. So no sense in crying over spilled milk. Clean it up and let's focus on what we need to do today. So you have to make the best decision for you. All right, we done with that. Next topic. Are you ready? Look at Nick. Go ahead, Nick. You introduce it.
All righty then. We have back in the media the fact that Mr. August Alsina, he was interviewed by Angela Yee, and she was being nosy and asked him about his affair with Jada Pinkett.
Now wait. Wait, let's be honest. She was interviewing him. And then she asked who was this person because he has that one song. I can't even think of the name of it where he actually showed the Texas.
None your business, I think.
There you go. None your business. Yeah, none ya.
Who he was talking about or whatever, but the fact is,
but here's the thing though. Some people were upset with August Alsina. They was like, he done ran and told, he told. No, he told his business. And then he said who the person was. And everybody was just shocked with him and Jada. Okay? Now here's the deal. Josh said in Jason lyrics, Josh tried to tell him, she ain't no good. Remember he told Jason that in Jason lyrics? Look at the movie guy. You know about that. But anyway, I can't say that she wasn't no good. The girl is married. I'll catch you guys up if you don't know about the August Alsina. August Alsina is a R&B singer. And his songs are kind of like, if you're familiar with Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Usher, that type of singer. Very nice guy. Don't know him, but, from the interviews, I got his vibes, you know what I mean? And then, knowing his history. And yeah, he did have his life was sad, but he got out of that. He lost a brother. He lost a sister. He had the sad story, and his mother watched her be abused. And then he got out and he just started singing. So that's where he focused his energy into singing. And they met Jada. I want to say Jaden is who introduced them, Jada and Will's son. So he meets them. And when he talks about his relationship, he says, is Jada, he comes clean. He kind of was like under wraps, but he just says who the person is. Now, nobody says anything. They're like, oh, I don't believe him. Why would he do that? He seems a little mental. I will say this. If you follow August, there's a lot of YouTube videos, documentaries. You'll be able to see that he's very spiritual. And some people take spiritual beings or spiritual people. Sometimes they feel as though they got mental problems because they know a little bit more. You're not there yet. And that's not necessarily true. So there's like, look how he talking. Let people be who they are. Y'all already know this is the show where it's okay to be you. Let people be who they are. And let's not judge who they are. Now, let's talk about Jada. She came to the red table. She said, I'm going to bring myself to the red table. She came last night, so you guys can catch that. Matter of fact, I think that's the most anybody ever watched the red table because they wanted to hear her side because people were split. They're like, how old is he now? Like 25, 23?
24, 25, somewhere around there.
Okay. So, they was like, oh, he's lying. He's making it up. I really don't care. I'm like, the young man has no reason to lie. He was just sharing his life. Then Jada, she comes to the red table, but Will comes with her. Listen, kudos to Will Smith. And this is where the problem was.
He was hurt.
Listen, right? when they did the August Alsina, when Angela Yee interviewed him, he said Will gave his blessings. Kudos to Jada on this part of the interview. She backed him and she said, I can see where he would think that. Jada and Will, they didn't speak to any press. They made that clear intentionally until they came to the red table. They were split at the time. They thought it was over, like never coming back ever again. It was done. And
Will said that out his own mouth.
Right. And then she said it too. She was like, you was done with I don't know what happened in between there. They were split. And she said, he asked her the $1 million question. And usually that's a question that people have when their significant other steps out. Why? And he asked the question, why? And she said she felt good. Back to what I was saying, as far as like when you're with someone and they constantly say, certain things over and over, like a parent, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I know. But when somebody on the outside says it, you kind of take it to be like, okay, this must really be true. Jada is beautiful. She is very, very pretty. And you got to get at to her. And I'm not saying that that's okay for her to step out, but Will did step out. And I guess that was the time they were split. And then you heard Will talk about on some get back. She's like, oh, you had yours. Yeah. So they have whatever it is that they have going on, but she did tell the truth. And she verified everything that he said. And then she said, and then he just cut me off. She said, and I don't blame him for cutting me off. Sound like she still like him. That's when Will's face was like, what? Did you see? Go, Nick. What part did you see?
My thing is, number one, she was messing with a married man before she married him. Number two, she was wrong for messing with that young man. Your son is the same age. If you're going to do it, find somebody close to your age. Don't do it. Well, they were separated, so like I said, it was over. But come on now. You should have known something, because they're somebody that age, they're not really that mature. And the fact that she's Jada Pinkett, of course he going to be, and then also the young man should have knew, if you getting into it with somebody who is separated from their husband, you never know. They saying it's over, but you never know if they're going to get back together or not, unless you see the papers signed. Come on now. You in the game. You ought to know the game. Keep it to yourself, because this is the second time it has come out, but now finally Jada and Will are actually speaking on it versus it being denied before. If you're going to play the game right. If you're going to be entangled with some
entanglement. Listen, when she said entanglement, and Will was like, Will shut her down, didn't he? Will, he shut that down. He was like, entanglement. He was like, come on. And then usually he called her babe. He was like, come on, Jada.
Right.
He was like, say what it is. And he was like, a relationship. Like, say what it is. Now, some people feel as though that she tried to manipulate the situation and try to, make excuses for and give an explanation as to why it was the way that it was. You know what I mean? And why this happened. Nah, it is what it is. You liked him. You had yourself a nice boy toy. She probably saw those pictures that he posted. And that's what did it.
Maybe. And I can't, if it ain't, no. But my thing is, either way, she was still a married woman, and all of that ain't nobody's business but y'all two.
Well, they probably,
especially the type of world that they're in, and now look at everybody's in. That could have stayed between the three, the husband, the wife, and the side piece, and left it at that, especially because
he's done.
What August is saying is he's lost money. People were calling him a home wrecker. So I guess that's why he kind of brought it to the forefront.
Can I ask this question?
You can ask this question. Go ahead.
How did they even know about it if it wasn't for him?
They wouldn't. But see, here's the thing. August hadn't made music in a long time.
Come on, man.
No. Because I'm going to tell you, I share my stuff. So somebody might, that happened before. No, if you ask me, if I'm on a show and you ask me, okay, well, who was this person you're talking about? You ain't say it then, but now you coming out and you say, okay, well, this is the person who it was. Why should I have to hold my truth? Why can't I tell my story? Because it makes other people uncomfortable? That's not okay. So I'm with him. He said it. Why should he be kept a secret?
You know what the old school talk, you know what the old school would say?
Old school would say, raise the baby and raise it as your own. No. And don't go to Maury.
A gentleman never tells.
Let me tell you something.
It just seems like, why? I mean, the only reason it's out there is because he put it out there.
She asked him a question and he was being honest. And listen, I'm glad he did, because it took our mind off of what's actually going on. It's like, oh, wait, what's going on? But I think that people need to, with the COVID and all that other stuff, it took our mind off of it. It's good. It's good entertainment. I'll put it that way. Because let's be honest, none of us really care. None of us really care about what's going on. Let's be real, but it's good.
Exactly. That's why they should have kept it to themselves.
It's entertainment. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't, so I can talk about it on Shop Talk, okay? I'm glad they didn't. But I just think that they shouldn't come down on him, because that's his truth. And if somebody happened to ask me, what's going on with me and did you date this person, I'm not gonna not tell. Why do I have to be a secret? I'll be like, yeah, okay. And it didn't work. You know what I mean? It's part of his journey. As she used the term, the journey. It's part of his journey. It's part of his life. It's a time in his life. You can't take that back. Now, here's the thing. They didn't have any souvenirs, speaking of children or anything, to actually show it. So you're like, he shouldn't have actually told it to take it to his grave, pretty much. No, I wouldn't have. But they weren't together. They thought they were not getting back together at all. So it was done. Nick, you are absolutely right. If they are married and you don't know where they are, there's a possibility that they could get back together. And then you just out. That has happened on several occasions. And there are women who are out there that date people and they can be separated for years. They could be separated for years. And then all of a sudden they end up back together. And then it's like you take that chance. Like, okay, here you go. Listen, I dated somebody who they weren't even living in the same house. Okay. They separated. Boom. Here you go. Filed for divorce. Never did the paperwork. That's what they'll ask. They'll be like, hey, Mel, in conversation, I'll tell you. There's like, Mel, you ever dated a married guy? Well, this guy we was married. They lived in separate homes for years. Was I a home wrecker? Absolutely not.
No.
I came out. I was like, oh, wait. And here's the thing. Went out the whole nine. All is well. However, I actually said, you know what I think I am? I think I'm a marriage put back together. Because, look, a marriage put back together. Y'all got problems? Hey, I'll talk to you. Listen, I told him, I said, you know what? You need to make sure you're done, because I was married. You need to make sure you are totally done. And you did everything that you could do. And I told him, I said, he was like, so what do you think? Do you think I should go back? I said, that's a decision that you're going to have to make. But if you keep, you keep bringing up like your children, and you need to make sure that you're totally done. And he did that. He went back and he made sure he was totally done. After he made sure he was totally done, it didn't work. And listen, and had the nerve to call me. I said, he was like, you told me to go back. Here's the thing. I said, you probably should. I said, but you weren't totally done because you went. If you were totally done, you'd have been like, I'm done. You would have never gone back. No. It's over, but I'm glad you did everything that you could do. The end results ended up being the same. You know what I mean? But at least they did exactly what they need to do, and they did the paperwork just as you said. So now both of them are actually, totally done. But I'm done too. I was done then, because when you made your decision to go back, I knew that you weren't totally done. So
I had a friend like that. And when that friend went back to her husband, we were all like, eh? And then it didn't work.
But they did everything that they could do. And that's what matters. As long as you leave and you're clean, all is well. And you have you have different women who find themselves in that situation. And let's be honest, you have vulnerable women. You have women that know what they're doing. You have women that, hence the book and play, How the Wife Becomes the Other Woman, who know that somebody is married and they'll actually go ahead and they'll be with that individual. You know what I mean? You got to get that book, and I ain't going to tell you how it turned out, okay? But you have to think, and just like you said, Nick, you don't know if they're going to go back. But if you're going to put your heart into it, just know that there's always that possibility. I don't care how long they've been apart.
Listen,
go ahead.
They can get divorced. It'd be divorced for several years.
And then get remarried.
My aunt and uncle did it.
I know a few people that did it.
On their 25th anniversary, he presented, because he started getting out there with drugs and everything. She didn't know it at the time. Presented my aunt with divorce papers. Put her out of that beautiful home that they got together with that Packard money and everything else. She had to get her a nice little apartment. He was out there doing him drugs and everything for years. Lost the house. Got broke down and got sick. Came running back to her. And they got married. They was separated.
Oh, no. Listen, you done did all that. I don't know if I'm going. I ain't coming back. You ain't coming back to me.
They got married. They were high school sweethearts. Been together since ninth grade.
Bless her heart.
They ended up back together. So they back together. And they've been married now for married like 15.
Bless their heart. I don't know if I'm going back that way, but I ain't had that kind of love yet. I ain't ran into that kind of love where you could put me out my house and you doing this and that, and then you come back and be like, here, I ain't been, like, I guess.
My aunt was hurt.
I guess I ain't.
Very forgiving, and
bless
she
God.
tried to date other people, but
that it was them. Probably how.
To be together regardless.
Probably how Jada and Will, when they came back, remember they said that they were totally done. God, Roogle, is there a line? You done crossed the line on that part. You ain't gonna put me out, have me homeless. Bless her heart. I like her. Whoever she is, I like her. Go ahead, Roogle.
You habitual line stepper.
Man, what? But you know what though? And him being on drugs, maybe that's why, she probably took him back knowing that he has an issue. Because how many, let's be real, how many people would do, like Charlie Wilson? Remember he got on drugs when he was with the Gap Band? And then he ended up being in a rehab place. And then he ended up meeting his current wife in a rehab place. Now we know as a sister, honey, if I meet you listen here, that's a lot of work. That's a fix it. That's going to be a lifetime of work. But she invested in him and she believed in him. And now look, now she his manager. She like, boom, you go get back to work. You got a good voice. You going to do what you do. And she helped him back. So shout out to you, Uncle Charlie. Because somebody actually did the dang old thing. However, and I was having this conversation because they felt like, well, he was a white woman. I said, do you know the backstory? And when I shared it, she was like, wow, the good brothers is with it. And then look at Charlie Wilson. He got himself a white woman. He is productive. I don't care. Love is love. Love is love. I don't care what color you are. If you love that individual, you love that individual. What I will say is this. You only live once, so make sure it's your decision, okay? And she invested in him, and they fell in love. And look at them now. So she helped him. But how many sisters, honestly, is going to meet somebody? You're not going to lose your job. She took a risk. Lose your job dating somebody that's, on drugs, and then say, okay, well, I'm going to help you do A, B, C, and D. You already know when you're dealing with some.
So she was a worker at the facility that he was at?
Alleged, yes. Yes. Now, who going to do that?
So she Harley Quinn.
Yes. Yes. And then guess what? Look at her now. And look at him now. And he ended up sharing how, like, during the quarantine, he hadn't been working. She's like, it's time to get back to work. That's why they got that video at their pool. She's like, no. She on it. But she's making more money. And she ain't got to do nothing but support her man like she was prior to.
And this is where I'm going to say to the sisters. Usually I'll be on the sister side. They want to get up there and they get them a white woman. Listen, if you are not willing to invest in this man when he was down, then shut your mouth. Shut up. You missed that boat. If you aren't willing to put yourself in the position of that woman,
to put in the work,
how she felt, whether she was trying to make a come up or whatever, if you wasn't willing to put yourself out there like, I ain't on drug, then shut up. Shut up. The better women, the one.
There you go.
Clearly.
That's
our problem. We're so worried about because they with the opposite race or whatever. But a lot of times, sometimes some of these white women are willing to do what a sister ain't willing to do. And see, this is our fault. And it's something in us that we need to get it together. Like, we need to do something. Now, I mean, you can't do, like 9 times out of 10, most of the women that he probably tried to put, I'm quite sure they put him down because don't nobody want to be bothered with no drug addict, but you don't know if that person is going to stay on drugs for long. You don't know if you might be the very person that can help pick that person up and bring them back to life and make them change their life. No, you want to dog them out, and that's what us sisters have a problem doing.
Are you willing to put in the work? That's it. Are you willing to put in the work?
Exactly.
And I'll answer that if you want me to.
Go ahead.
Let me answer. If I just meet you and let's say, for instance, you're a bum on the street. No, I ain't willing to put in the work. I'm not picking that up. It might be gold. It might be whatever it is. I'm not willing to do it. I'm going to be honest. That's just me. And why? Because I'm invested in me. And I don't have time to invest in you at the time. Now, if I'm with you, hence your aunt situation, if I'm with you and this happens along the journey and this occurs, am I willing to invest? Yes, because I've already invested. I'm not just going to go. And I remember having a show back in, I want to say it was 2011. And a guy called in because y'all know, y'all can tell me. He was like, Mel, you ain't right. Because I said that I wouldn't date somebody who was in a wheelchair. That's what I said. Roogle, why you shaking your head? Listen.
Because I remember this conversation.
You remember, listen. But it's my truth. And here's the thing. And dependent on me. That's the difference. So I said, if this was a day and age and you met somebody over the phone and you're talking to them and then you develop a relationship. But when I see you, I don't just go and be like, oh, look at that guy in a wheelchair. I want to date him. I'm not even having a conversation because what I look at, and I had to tell him, I said, I understand what you mean and I'm sorry for what happened. And yes, it could be me. And then guess what? The guy, he has that option too, to date somebody who is, disabled or whatever the case may be. And I said, I wouldn't, because first off, I'm a nurse, and being a nurse, I will get off work knowing I got to go home to do more work. Because now,
listen, I ain't gonna lie, I was in love with one guy.
But you probably communicated with him, and I said,
no, I didn't.
Oh, see, I just
knew him from him coming out.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. But so I explained to him, I said, here's my thing. I'm not just going to look. It's almost like the bum on the street. And that was the analogy that I used. I'm not just going to go and you don't have a job. And I know you don't have a job. And yes, we know some of those bums on the street are rich. But this is because they don't want to spend any money. But I know that relationship is not going to work because you're not even spending money on yourself. So I know I ain't got a chance. And I'm a visual person. So don't you out here bumming and asking other people for money and you living in a mansion. That's all well and good, but I don't want my husband to look like that. You know what I mean? So guess what? I done missed the boat. Look, I missed the boat. How y'all doing? And congratulations to whoever is on the boat. I'm not going to do it. As far as like for the wheelchair situation, I'm not just going to go meet somebody and see him and be like, oh, I want to date you. I don't want to do no work. Because that's what I see. I see I'm going to have to do some work. That's work. I don't want it. That's not what I want right now. I haven't been lonely enough. Let me put it that way. I haven't been lonely enough. Look at Roogle shaking his head. I'm being honest. I haven't been lonely enough to say, okay, well, I'll just settle. We could be friends. And then, you know what, you get to know somebody, you might be like, oh, okay, but I'm not just going to go just a stranger and be like, boom. And then so the guy, he was like, well, Mel, you just cut yourself off. No, I want to go. I don't want to be sitting there like, now I got to build a ramp. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, It's just too much. Now, if we are together and something happens, totally different.
Right. Well, this one, I used to see him come in the VFW all the time.
Rolling in the VFW. He just rolled up on you.
He's from, I ain't gonna say where
okay,
he's
but
from,
go ahead, because we know this
might know
nationwide.
who he is. But he ain't from here. He from.
Go ahead, tell me.
Child, listen, he is fine. I was just like in love. I was telling my friend because she knew him. She was like, "Oh, I know him." He was already. She was like,
"Well, why is he in the wheelchair? Was he paralyzed from the waist down?"
Yeah,
girl,
he got shot.
Okay, and most of the people are, but he was paralyzed.
A bad boy. Even in the wheelchair, he was a bad boy.
So both y'all running. So you like pushing him and running. He's still a bad boy in the wheelchair. Y'all like, hey!
He got around just fine. You know, he had his men with him that would help him and push him around everything. I mean, he's married. He had a girlfriend back then. You know,
but you found him attractive. And that's okay.
I found him attractive. I didn't care about him being in a wheelchair.
I heard that. You ain't care about him being paralyzed from the waist down either?
No, because he had the waist up. Or actually the neck up.
That don't work for me.
Huh?
That don't work for me. Look, live studio audience talk about live studio audience said they got toys. Live studio audience said they got toys. Listen here. I won't listen. Everything something got to be attached now. But
I really wasn't thinking about all of that then.
You just found him attractive. You found
I just found him attractive. Even though he was a bad boy, he still is sometimes. He was just the sweetest.
So he had swag.
Yeah. That's
okay.
What it was.
All right, Roogle, what you got? What you got on this?
Nothing.
Let me tell you something. I know. Listen. I don't want to say. Okay, I know somebody who I think he was married to her. I don't know. I seen her one time. I didn't know that she didn't have, no legs. Now to a guy, that might be ideal. Maybe that's why they got married. However, when he got upset with her, why you gonna take her legs?
Oh, now you wrong.
That's nuts. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that?
That's why she next time.
Look at Roogle. Look at Roogle. You gonna take her legs? You gonna sit there and be like, you ain't going nowhere. Just grab the mugs and say, throw them in the car, throw them to work. Take them to work with you.
That's abuse.
That is abuse.
That's all right. And then when she get them legs back, then she turn around with the same legs that he took and beat the crap out of him.
Now there you go. Beautiful. Really nice, beautiful. But I don't know the extras that, occurred in their marriage to cause them to get a divorce. But he took her legs. Like, come on, man. And then I know somebody that was dating somebody in a wheelchair and he broke up with her. How? Like, that's just, maybe it's just me. I get it. And yes, people have feelings, even though you don't want to deal with certain things. But you ain't breaking my heart in no wheelchair. Or we going for a ride.
So he was in a wheelchair and he broke up with her?
He broke up with her and she had done all this stuff for him.
But he was in the wheelchair.
He was in the wheelchair and he was paralyzed from the waist down. And her heart was in it. And she did a lot of crying. And with that being said, it's like, how? Like, I be on some, listen, I be on some get back. I be on some get back. I'm about to throw you over my shoulder, carry you in the house and all that. And then you go dog me out. Like, I'm not about to do that. I'm sorry. Be upset with me if you will. I'm going to be me. I'm not doing that. And then you go treat me like dirt. You need to be happy. You need to treat me like a queen. And I'll treat you like a king. You know what I mean? But you ain't about to break up with me. And that ain't gonna happen. Because if you break up with me, watch this. We go is that abuse, Roogle? I think that might be. I take
roll
down grassy hill. Roll him down grassy hill. Dude, look, I mess around there, be like, oh, that's abuse. You had no, that was an accident.
Right. The chair slipped.
Yeah, that was an accident. But I will say his reasoning for breaking up with her was because she would have him babysitting her kids. They not the easiest kids to babysit. So that's what happened there. But
then why she crying there? He ain't there to be her babysitter.
You gonna do something if you ain't working. You paralyzed from the waist down.
He paralyzed from
you
the waist
watch
down.
them. Look, I'll be back. I'm the breadwinner.
Even bring some type of money in.
His check. But she didn't wait for the check. You don't let nobody hold him there till the check come. You got all these stairs. How you gonna get out? Hold him there. It be some straight up misery type stuff. I'm gonna sit here and wait till the first come. You ain't about to break up with me on the 27th. Nope. Nope.
He probably knew that she was waiting on that check. That's why he did.
He's like, I'm gonna get out of here some type of way. I like him too. I like it. I still communicate with him. He's so funny. He told me, he was like, you should have been a dude. That's what he told me. He's like, you think like a guy. You think like a guy. And I've been accused of that, but it's just like, you gotta look at things to where you're happy. Not because somebody else. And I've never been, you have your givers and you have your takers. And you have to figure out what side do I fall on now? Because with the give and take, you know, at the beginning of the year, you might be a taker because Valentine's Day there. Then the end of the year, you might be a giver because of Christmas. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is it's a give and take situation, and to each his own, and choose who you want to. And no one can be upset with you. The moral of this topic is no one can be upset with you because of your choices. If you should, don't think that, you know, you trying to boycott me because I won't date somebody in a wheelchair. Well, what if this and that? I don't need your scenarios. Right now, at this present date, this is where I'm at. Now, maybe 10 years from now, I might look at things a little differently. But
or
nobody can
put it this way.
Nobody can be upset with anybody for the decisions that they make to what makes them happy. Now, go ahead and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Listen, God puts people in certain situations that he wants in because he knows. So therefore, you feel like that now, but who's to say the next person that might be a drug addict or something, God wouldn't put it on your heart because he knows you're just a person to help this person, and he'll put it on your heart to be in y'all click. And
okay, what I'm gonna say to that, you go ahead. God knows my heart and he knows me. And if it's God's will, fine. You could be a reason, season, a lifetime. I could be a friend. I could be a friend. So again, don't sit there and get upset because somebody don't want to date you. Just like me. They might not want to date me because of my illnesses. You know what I'm saying? They be like, oh, I don't feel like dealing with that. How much is my insurance going to go up? You know, you have all that to consider because when you're with somebody, you know, people have illnesses. Some of them people can see and some people can't. But both of us can't be sick. And that is my thought. Both of us, when I'm down, who's going to be able to help me? Don't look like you'll be able to assist me or my needs. And I think other people need to look at things that way. You know, what works for you? Go ahead, Roogle. You got something to say? All right. Now let's talk about the Goya man. The Goya seasoning. People are trying to boycott him because he made a statement he made a statement he said that Trump was like the greatest president, whatever. So they're talking about boycotting him. Well, he actually made a statement. He said, I'm not apologizing. Why does he have to? So my question is, why does he have to apologize for his own personal thoughts, political views, his own personal political views?
He doesn't have to apologize, but he has to realize that people may not buy his product.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
So he's basically saying that I'm not going to pander to people. This is how I feel. And people may say, hey, well, if you're a guy that's willing to support this guy who we think is against us, and we think that your food is made for us, by us, then maybe we should not support you.
Shout out to FUBU.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Nick.
That's my thought exactly. Trump is trying to build a wall to keep the Mexicans on the other side, and yet still you're a Latino man and you for Trump. Boy, bye. That's the same thing with how we feel about Kanye. Talk about he running for president. Boy, if you don't go sit your crazy tail down somewhere.
Well, this is the same person that says slavery was a choice.
So
I pays him no attention. So
therefore, now that's how they feel about the Goya man.
I don't think that he needs to give an apology, and I'm glad he didn't. And I'm with you, Roogle. You know, everyone has a choice. And it's really interesting how we all have choices, freedom of choice. We're fighting for equality, you know, equal rights. Yet, some people have an issue with the way other people think. So you can have your own thoughts, but you have a problem if they have their own thoughts. That's unfair.
No, I just think they're crazy. That's all.
That's unfair. Go ahead. Crazy. You cook a lot. Do you use Goya products?
There's some things I use, you know, Sazone, you know, what's the other one? Oh, man. I'm at a brain freeze here. But, yeah, I have used their products in the past. And, you know, I think
just because y'all have differences, you will not use his products?
Me, personally?
Yeah, I'm just asking you.
Probably not.
Because of his personal views.
Well, I mean, the thing is, let's say, okay, I think it's how some people embrace what they feel about Donald Trump. Some people may say Donald Trump perpetuates America that is ingrained in hate. So why would I want to support that? You know, some may have their particular issues with him or whatever. My concern is that, like, when you have somebody who, like, do I want to give my dollars to somebody who's supporting a cause I don't believe in? Of course not.
Okay, so pretty much, do I want to give my dollars to someone who's going to give my dollars to Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair to say. It's all about choices.
I mean, it's in any situation. Remember, and I don't even know if this is true, but I'll say allegedly. Remember, allegedly, when they were saying that that Snapple was owned by a hate group? Yes.
And I used to love Snapple. And guess what? I think I was addicted to Snapple. Pink lemonade. I stopped. So you're right. I stopped buying.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's true or not.
But but do they have Snapple anymore? Do they still sell it?
Girl, that Snapple apple is the bomb. Yes, they do.
They do. Okay. Because I had stopped before I had to have it. And then I stopped and now I don't even miss it.
It's the same thing with Timberland. The tree on the Timberlands, they say that it perpetuates the tree that they used to hang black folks from. Black folks are still buying Timberlands. So
okay. So okay, but that's any tree. That seems wait. Look, I'm like. I sound like an old person. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I remember when that was going around. A lot of people was like, I ain't buying Timberlands because that person is racist. And the reason they put the tree there is it's symbolizing what, you know, the tree symbolizing hanging black people from, blah, 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 whatever.
I wonder whose drunk uncle came up with that. Yeah. I didn't see. I'm not saying that it's not true.
These are the stories that are made up.
Yeah, because a lot of stories are made up. Thank God we have social media because then you could actually look at it and say, okay, what's going on and let me research it instead of just going off of it. That's interesting because I've never, ever heard of that particular one. But that's deep. That's deep.
What other? Was going around saying that years back, and I was like, okay. I don't own nothing Timberland anyway. Well, I do got some Timberland flip flops now that are actually cute, but yeah, I was like, okay.
Go ahead.
That up on my
I just thought it was because they were like boots that were used in those kind of wilderness environments. I looked at the word Timberland, and it says land covered with forests suitable or managed by timber.
Okay.
Meaning wood.
Right. And trees. Wood comes from trees. Yeah. That's why I said whose drunk uncle was sitting there that came up with that? But
it was like on In Living Color when the dude's like, well, the hypotheses of the triopolis, the schedule will be
for the monopolies.
Yeah, what was his name? I can't even.
That was the one that was in jail, right?
Yeah, was it?
Damon Wayans played him. I can't remember.
Was it Andre Jackson or something like that?
Something different. Look, something different. I can't. Shout out to Live a Color. I used to love that show. That was good. That was creative with all them people. They had all them sisters and brothers. I guess that's how they entertained each other, huh?
Oh, hold on. There's some other stuff on here.
What, for the Timberlands?
No, this is from the neck shoes, whatever this is.
I don't know nothing about that.
The logo means KKK and racism rumors explained.
Wait, what?
It's an article that I just found online. It says Timberland's tree logo meaning KKK and racism rumors explained. Let me look at this. Whenever we share a pair of boots.
Come on, this is a live show. You can't read the whole article.
I don't want to state it because I don't have a chance to read it. But basically, it's something that goes to what
Nick was saying. Okay, so look it up for yourself. So that wasn't nobody's drunk uncle. Take that back, huh?
Well, I don't know if this is a reputable site either.
All right, well, y'all check it out.
What I'm saying.
Y'all check it out. Y'all look to see what's going on with the Timberlands and the people that get the Timberlands and go from there. A lot of people buy things for style, but if somebody has, now that right there, yeah, I get that part of it. As far as why you get, why, who should I support? That's a difference. If it's racism or something like that, I'm not going to pad your pockets, so to speak, versus the person who.
Okay.
What you got?
So this is what this thing on that article, what it says. It says Timberland's tree logo represents a lynching tree. In fact, the Timberland logo is simply a branchy tree on a field, which is not surprising as a noun. Timberland is defined as land covered for is suitable for management or timber.
Okay, so what they're saying is that it's not the lynching tree?
It's not supposed to represent a lynching tree. But, I mean, that's just this one thing. There's so many. I didn't even know this was a thing until
I didn't either. So we'll check into that a little bit later. So here we go. Look, on to the next. Roogle, what's happening in the movie world?
Man, it's kind of slow motion, but there is some things that are happening that will be on big screens that are really only being used on small screens now because of what's going on with COVID. One thing I want to bring everyone's attention to on Netflix, there is a show called The Old Guard. The Old Guard is a story about individuals who are pretty much immortal, shaping the history of the world. It stars Charlize Theron and Chiwetel Ejiofor. And I wouldn't necessarily call her a newcomer, but her name is Kiki Lane. And Kiki Lane is best known for her work in the movie If Beale Street Could Talk, and she had a couple other pieces that she's doing. But she will also be in Coming to America too.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's an exciting time. If these things are true, these are exciting times. That's a quote from The Matrix. So the important thing about this movie, The Old Guard, is that it is a movie that is directed by Gina Prince by the Wood, right? So Gina Prince hyphen by the Wood. You might say Gina Prince. Does that name ring familiar to you?
No.
Well, it should, because she was the director of Disappearing Acts, the HBO show, the HBO movie that starred Wesley Snipes and Sanaa Lathan. But she also was the director of the film Love and Basketball.
Oh, I know. Look, I know that movie.
Yeah. So now she's made a quantum leap to be the first African American woman to actually do a comic book movie, and that's what The Old Guard is. But it's it's not really a popular one like, Batman and all that other stuff. But the point is that she's broke through this glass barrier to be able to do this production. And from what I hear, it is excellent. Now, if we also want to say, hey, there's not a whole lot of new stuff out here right now, which I understand it's not, and we have this little gem to be able to digest over and over again, we can also look at the fact that now Hamilton has been filmed and is also available for you to watch on Disney Plus. So Hamilton is out there, that great production by Lin-Manuel. Oh, jeez, I was about to kill his name. But anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda is the writer of Hamilton. You're familiar with the Broadway play of that. So anyway, he is now on Disney Plus. It's been filmed, so that is there for everyone to be able to, who couldn't get not Hollywood, but Broadway, to be able to see it in the comfort of their own homes. Now, during the time of the pandemic, there was a time where I did a couple flashbacks. So one flashback I want to bring to you guys is that The Shaft, the 1971 film Shaft, starring Richard Roundtree, is on Netflix, and I just wanted to bring some focus to that because it was a movie where MGM, what people don't know is that MGM during this time was almost about to go bankrupt. Shaft was one of the 3 movies that pulled it out of bankruptcy. Also, Shaft is most noted as an Oscar winner for its song, and you know what song that is, right?
No.
Isaac Hayes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Isaac Hayes, yeah.
Yeah. He's a man, just above anyone can. I'm sorry, I can't really do my Shaft thing. But the point was that it won an Oscar, and Richard Roundtree was also recognized as a Golden Globe for Best Upcoming New Actor. So, I mean, this was a movie that was not only paramount to the success of MGM staying afloat, but also started a new genre of being able to show the black man as a leading man, and that black man being vetted through these organizations that award films and actors. So this is a very important thing that we need to also look, as we look forward to see the great things that Gina Prince is doing, by the Woods, Prince by the Woods. We also need to reflect on the fact that there were people who paved the way for that success to come. So I suggest that you watch not only The Old Guard, but Shaft as well.
I got a question about Shaft. Why is it the Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson being the leading man? The first one, Richard Roundtree was the uncle. The second one, Richard Roundtree was the daddy. Where'd they do that at?
Maybe he Uncle Dad. Maybe that wasn't the father.
Daddy.
Maybe that wasn't the father. They found out later that was the father.
Was cast as Samuel L. Jackson's uncle. The second one, he was cast as John Shaft Sr., the dad, and not the uncle. Uncle John Shaft. I'm like, how did Hollywood mess that one up right there?
I don't know, but let's go with this part of it. The drive-ins. Now, the drive-in, they make it the concerts, like musicians are doing concerts. I love Blake Shelton. That's my guy. And he's doing, he actually has like a live concert that are going to drive-ins. Some drive-ins are actually charging $150 per car for the concert. I want the live experience.
Exactly, for $150.
$150
on the stage in front of the screen. No. So
how does that? Do you get out the car and just like watch it? Like I'm not for it.
I'm not going. If I got to pay $150, I'm not going.
So I'm wondering if we're going to go back to, like, remember drive-ins used to be the projector movies. Like, okay, well, let's just watch this on projector or, at the drive-in versus the comfy cinemas. What do you think? Like you said, the shower curtains at some place like that at the pizza place. I think that was you that was talking about the pizza place with the shower curtains.
I saw that yesterday.
I'm not on it. Let's talk about the cakes. Roogle, you're a baker.
Yeah.
They're talking for social distancing, doing away with cakes and now doing cupcakes.
Well, cupcakes have been finding their way into the situation altogether anyway. The issue is don't blow on the cake. Don't blow the candle out. That tradition may end up going
That's
away.
it.
But like if I give you a slice of cake versus a cupcake, I still have to serve you. So I don't really.
Or not. Because a cupcake, you can just sit there and walk around. All right, 6 feet apart. You just grab your cupcake and you keep on going. But you do that on the cake. You cut the cake and you put it on plates.
Yeah, you can blow a candle out on a cupcake. What do you think? The cupcakes, when people make these stores, you pick them up, they have them together. Because my little godson's birthday party was yesterday. He had a Nerf cake. They were all cupcakes, but it was all together, and the icing was slathered all of them together. And they blew the candles out on the all over all the cupcakes.
They just now see here's my thing on that. Usually, if you have a cake, you invited those people. It's probably your family. So you don't try why we got a social distance? I said we got a social distance ingredients now. Like y'all killing me with this. This is becoming overwhelming, especially when you don't even know the cause of it. Because I was watching Dr. Oz, and he kind of did an experiment where he had the regular flu versus where there is no regular flu, but your standard flu that happens in the fall, winter, versus the coronavirus. And now they're looking at, remember before they saying how long, like the regular flu, I guess it can stay on an object for up to 24 hours, where it said 9 days. They're looking at 9 days for the coronavirus. And I'm wondering if that's how those other two teachers that taught in the same class, you could wipe everything down. You forgot the light fixture. What? And back to that cost, you got the mask, you got the hand sanitizer, you have, what did they show? I think $448,000 in extra staff for, custodial staff. It's just a lot to go into it. It's just a lot to consider and to think about. And they don't know. And we're going through this. Look, we're practicing. We're learning. And as we're going through, Roogle, Atlanta shut it back down. They shut down back to phase 1. How do you feel about that?
The governor shouldn't open it until it was ready. The governor made that decision.
The mayor shut it down after she got it.
You had the governor go and make those decisions based off of what the president was saying, but not based off of what Dr. Fauci was saying. So there you go.
It's the same way because I just canceled my flight yesterday for next weekend.
Same thing in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had restaurants and stuff open, and they shut back down. I don't know if they're back open yet.
Okay. So we shut back down since we had the topic of the schools opening back up. We shut back down. The schools shut back down too. So
basically.
So I think they shouldn't even open until we actually get this thing all the way together. That's just me and my thoughts.
But see, my thing is people weren't paying attention. They still aren't paying attention. You got people like down near the state of Texas. They're trying to sue the state of Texas because they're shutting the bars back down again. I mean, people weren't being mindful. They weren't paying attention to staying their behinds in the house unless you absolutely positively had to go out there for essentials. That's it. That's all. Meaning if you are an essential worker, you are working in the food industry, you're working in the healthcare industry, you got to work the grocery stores or food industry. They got to go. I wouldn't even do no restaurants. Close the restaurants down. This is the time to start cooking meals again. No restaurants.
And look, everybody start cooking it again. Everybody on their quarantine 15. They didn't gain their quarantine 15. I was like,
shut down except for those that absolutely have. If you're making milk, you're making the cheese, you're making the processing the meat, that. For us to go to the grocery store, for the nurses and everybody that have to work in the hospitals, and that's it, that's all. And make that across the board. And like they said, people talk about, well, that's martial law and this and that. Well, guess what? It's either martial law or we're going to keep losing lives. You got to make up your mind. Pick one. We need to be completely quarantined for 15 days, even 30 days altogether. No, nothing. Unless you are absolutely positively have to go out for essentials. And if they're running out, and then you have those like Amazon and people have, buying their essentials or the groceries on Amazon, and you got Postmates going to pick up, that's fine. That's essential. That's it. That's all. That's the only way we're going to get control of this. And people don't want to wrap their mind around it.
Yeah, some people feel they don't want to comply. Some people just don't like rules. They don't want to
comply. Well, you either going to comply or you going to die. Period.
Okay, then. Now she a rapper. Okay. Nick the Voice a rapper. She rapping up in this mug. Speaking of that, we had Oprah. Gail went to go visit Oprah. Oprah like, yeah, you can come and visit me, but you got to quarantine in my guest house first. Test negative, and then you could come and see me. So she understands that she's at risk. And it's like, no, I'm not taking any chances. This thing is real. And
could you imagine having to be quarantined on Oprah's guest house?
That's a vacation.
Let me spend 14 days at Oprah's guest house.
And listen, they at the pool, they talking to each other across from the pool. That is it. Listen, I was like, well, yeah, sure. Quarantine
That's
me.
That's why I'm not going to Texas, because I would have to quarantine. Me and my husband and my niece would have to quarantine for 14 days there, and then turn around because we're flying in and out of Pittsburgh, out of Pittsburgh, back into Pittsburgh. It would be fine for her because she's from Pittsburgh anyway. But me and my husband would have to quarantine another 14 days in PA. I ain't got 28 days to give y'all.
But or quarantine. Look, you just be sitting at your house and be on Shop Talk with Mel.
Right. So
while you quarantine, you can still chill.
Going.
You can still kick it with us.
I'm not going because I don't have 28. I ain't got 28 days of quarantine in 2 different states, and I live in another one. We ain't doing that. Bye. I see you. This is over. Love you. We can do Zoom. We can do Duo. Whatever. My brother called me 5-6 times a day, every day anyway.
All right, Nick, you got the horoscopes.
Yes, I do.
Let's go with it, baby girl.
For the week of July 13th, Cancer, you're feeling extra sensitive this week. Trust your words. They come straight from your heart and land exactly as they are meant to you. Leo, look out for psychological or work-life balance wins this week. You could realize just how necessary it is to occasionally lose your grasp on reality and wade in the deep end of your dreams. Virgo, you might be itching to soak up new knowledge or hit the road. This is an opportunity to tune into your feelings and let that lead the way. Libra, turning your attention to exciting ways you can expand your skill set, learn and grow personally and professionally, which can lead to recognition from higher ups. Scorpio, it's tough to gain clarity around relationship matters right now, and you might be feeling discouraged as a result. Take heart that you'll land the answers you seek soon enough. Sagittarius, look out for a potential cash flow increase, perhaps shared with your significant other or another loved one. Capricorn, you can feel the impulse to get more serious about a creative project or relationship. Being able to wear your heart on your sleeve more than usual can make a world of difference in how you're connecting with another one. Aquarius, finding time and space to enjoy pleasurable, fun-loving pastimes with your loved ones come more naturally than usual. Enjoying intellectually stimulating conversations can bring you even closer. Pisces, the mood is right to connect with loved ones in a meaningful, loving, and joyful way. Even the simplest pleasures like a backyard barbecue or looking at old photo albums can prove heartwarming and connection bolstering. Aries, you are finally coming around to understanding the true scope of the work you have to do at your job, in a romantic partnership, or in a friendship. This sudden realization could overwhelm you, but it doesn't have to. The soldier in you knows that you can do this. Taurus, you could be caught off guard at work by a wrench being thrown in the interaction with your higher ups or ongoing project. As the creature of habit that you are, You might get aggravated. Just do your best to go with the flow and see how the change might actually make you more productive. And Gemini, and emotional challenges that arise now could feel like a nuisance, but being willing to step up and do the work necessary to strengthen your attachment can ultimately be deeply fulfilling. And those are your horoscopes for the week of July 13th.
All right. Hey, what's that sound? What's that sound?
Male medical moment.
Hey, lovely people. Y'all know I already talked about the immune system. And we know that affection actually increases the immune system. So I'm going to say that we're going to talk about apologies. That's what I'm going to do on this Male's Medical Moments, okay? Apologies. How to be forgiven. If you harm somebody or if you hurt someone's feelings and did them wrong, these are some tips on how to be forgiven. Because let's be real, people. It's all about emotions and feelings. That's why I say affection increases the immune system. We talked a little bit earlier as far as with you, Roogle, and you were saying how, you'll miss that, that connection with actually being around someone. All right. And we had Shimmy. I think we had Shimmy on when we were talking about giving hugs, increase the immune system. So how to be forgiven successfully. If you have offended someone and you don't know how to apologize, these are some tips, okay, that you need to take into consideration on how you can be forgiven successfully. Be accountable for the role that you played in the wrongdoing. Even if you don't think that you've done someone wrong, because I know that you're thinking, why do I have to apologize for doing what I want? So it's something that you want to do and you can't be there for someone and why do I have to apologize? Just to clear the air, okay? I'm just going to give you that answer. Just to clear the air. And some people feel as though that I didn't intentionally harm somebody for, they'd be like, oh, they just spoiled, they just selfish, they just got an attitude because they want me to be available for them. They're looking at you through their lens and they would actually do that for you. And that is probably why. The other one, a verbal contract. Promise that you'll never, harm them again. You'll never hurt them again. Is that hard to do? It might be, especially when you don't know that you offended them anyway. But once you are aware of that, just apologize and say, you know what? I'm glad you let me know that. I can assure you that I will not do that again. Okay. Then show remorse. Show remorse. People, listen, you got to show remorse. And the reason I say that is because, like I was getting ready to say, excuses, remorse. Yeah, it's amore. Yeah, you have to show remorse. You don't show remorse by giving excuses. Some people look at it as an explanation. Well, that's because I was doing A, B, C, and D. The recipient of the apology will take that as an excuse. So we don't want you to do that. Make amends within reason. Some people use it as blackmail. Listen, you have that person that will actually sit there and say, well, can you take me there? Can you do this? Can you do that? And you'll be apologizing for the rest of your life. No. Make amends within reasons. Draw the line. Like I said, do your verbal contract and say, hey, I can promise you that this, that I will not do this again. But the person, the recipient, the one that feels as though that they were offended, I have to let you lovely people know this. You have to share because people will offend you unintentionally and they don't even know that they did anything. And they always say forgiveness is for you. Listen, I will forgive you if I offended you. I apologize. And then depending on what it is, I'll know, okay, this person is sensitive and I can't do that with this person, but you have to address it. So as recipient, let people know. To confront the situation because people really won't know. Now, I will tell you this. There is a difference between reconciliation and forgiveness. Reconciliation means to restore. Okay? Forgiveness means to release the anger. So again, once you release that anger, that immune system will increase. Okay? So that's why I had to add this into the Male's Medical Moments. Change how you tell the story. Change how you tell the story, recipient. Because you might be saying, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, and you're the victim. And change. If you plan on forgiving the individual, you have to change how you tell the story. Yeah, of course, it's the way that you see it, but put yourself in other folks' shoes and say, okay, I can see how this occurred and how you didn't think that this was this way. Relax your nervous system, because we already know when we get angry, that adrenaline will take off. Pew! Next thing you know, you bobbing and weaving, and then guess what? You get nowhere. So forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. And that is why you apologize for doing what you wanted, because you did not intentionally set out to hurt someone. Okay? All right. And there's your medical moments for today. Any last words that you have, Roogle?
Nah, have a great day.
Have a great day. Any last words, Nick?
Please do what you got to do. Continue to stay safe so we can get rid of this COVID or get it down or whatever we got to do so we can go back to our regular lives.
Hey, she ready to go back to the regular lives. All right, lovely people, that is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you. Catch us every single week, Saturdays. You could go to YouTube if you want to donate to the channel. The information is in the description below. And do that. Keep sending those inbox letters. I like the inboxes. The Shop Talk question of the week, we will address that on next week when we talk about it, okay? Because it's good. We also, you know what, Roogle, you didn't weigh in on this. Youngstown, Ohio, we're known for certain places. And Bellaria is one of them. And Youngstown, Ohio was the hometown. I want to just let you lovely people know what's going on. Bellaria Pizza, we are known. We're known for the one down on Logan. I like the grease. That's just me. They done moved up the hill. They done got a beautiful building. The grease is gone. Everybody all healthy. I don't want it. If I'm gonna eat bad, I want it all bad. Question for you, Roogle. Uptown or Bellaria?
I'm gonna say I it's weird because I go to Uptown more.
Okay, you go to Uptown more. Well, guess who? I took a poll. Didn't I, Nick?
Yes, she did. And then I did research on that poll.
And what did you find? Which one did you like better?
I came up with Bellaria.
Okay,
she bought 2 pizzas just last night. One from Uptown, one from Bellaria. One piece on my plate, one piece each on my plate. I even had my husband do when he got home.
Well, which one did he do? Which one did he choose?
Bellaria. Okay,
so 2 Bellarias over there. Well, I will tell you from the poll on the Facebook poll that we did who won. Are you ready? All right. Those are my applause. Uptown won. Uptown won. Let me tell you something. I don't know how. I don't know. I like the old Bellaria because I like the grease and the salt. The lady, when she died, I guess she took the recipe with her and they tried to get it. She ain't give them all the ingredients. Like my grandmother did with the dressing. She ain't give me all the ingredients. I told her, listen, they tried to diagnose her with dementia. I already knew. She knew too, because she would say, I don't remember. I said, now listen. Tell me how you make your dressing. So she gave me all the ingredients. It still wasn't right. I said, listen, before you check out, I need you to give me all the ingredients. She gonna tell me before she check out, I think that's it. I don't remember. So she gonna go with the dementia. So she done took it with her, but I got it. I got it. Same thing. That lady down in Bellaria on Logan Avenue. She took the original recipe, or at least they must have left the sauce in the building. Because they done moved up. And now they got all this healthy stuff, and then like the cheese went up, and then they want me to pay for the cheese.
Listen, the cheese was nice and stringy, but the ones from
but how much was your pizza? How much was your pizza at Bellaria?
$14.
$14 for what? 12-inch?
12-inch.
Okay, how much was your pizza?
Cheese and pepperoni.
Okay, how much? $14. So that's $15 for 8 slices. Ooh. Okay, how much was it at Uptown?
I got the Cindy's Meat Lovers. It was $14.
Well, how much meat did you get?
I got the Meat Lovers, the one with the ham, the sausage, pepperoni.
So you got two separate pizzas. They're not even the same. See, I want you to get the same exact thing to see what it was.
See,
but Belleria is expensive. Huh?
I was going by the cheese. That cheese was hard, and it was fresh off the oven. Now I had to wait 40 minutes for that one.
You got extra cheese?
I had to wait 30 minutes.
You got extra cheese at Uptown? You don't even need no extra cheese at Uptown.
No, I didn't get the extra cheese at Uptown. I got the extra cheese over here.
Yeah, $5 extra.
Uptown, they gave me the cheese. It was hot, but the cheese was hard.
Okay, go ahead, Roogle. What you thinking?
Just nice and stringy, like it's supposed to be.
Go ahead. Oh, so you on for the cheese, Belleria? Go ahead, Roogle. What you thinking?
I was just trying to understand what she was saying. I never had a bad Belmont Uptown experience.
Okay, see me either. But to each his own. We gonna do it. Hey, listen, find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shut Talk. Hey, right here on Spreaker.com. Visit the podcast, lovely people, if you can't listen. And go to YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna upload it on YouTube.